My first piece of advice for a question like this is make sure you recognize that it's a very specific question, right? They're not asking for the main idea. They want one particular thing. So when we read this passage, we want to go in with that idea in mind, not just kind of this blanket, like, oh, let me read it and understand whatever I can. No, you are hunting. You are on a scavenger hunt for this exact idea and nothing more. So let's see what we get. They want to know why a helicopter built for Earth would be unable to fly on Mars. So clearly I'm looking for some sort of difference between Earth and Mars, right? So a difference between Earth and Mars. Let's see what we can find. In 2014, these people at NASA set out to build a helicopter capable of flying on Mars. Because Mars's atmosphere is only 1% as dense as Earth, so the density of the atmosphere seems to matter, the air of Mars would not provide enough resistance to the rotating blades of a standard helicopter for the aircraft to stay aloft. So not enough resistance, so less dense. This is Mars. You might do a little scrap paper dumb summary here. Less dense, lower resistance, blah, blah, blah. For 5 years, Kwan's team tested designs in a lab that mimic Mars' atmospheric conditions. The craft the team ultimately designed can fly on Mars because its blades are longer and rotate faster than those of a helicopter the same size built for Earth. So maybe that matters. Longer, faster. Let's just see. I think we're more interested in the first part, not the solution. Let's see what we can do, though. A, because Mars and Earth have different atmospheric conditions. So that's going to be it. Notice that in my dumb summary, I was interested in what the difference was, right? Mars has a lower density, lower air resistance, but choice A does a good kind of SAT thing here, and they just wipe that clean, and they kind of avoid the comparison by just saying there is a comparison, right? They don't say which is better or which is worse. They just say that they're different. And that's a normal SAT move. So you can't just be thrown off by being like, oh, well, that's not specific enough. No. Like usually the problem is that choices are too specific. So weaker answers are usually better for us anyway. So let's look at the others just to play it safe. Because the blades of helicopters built for Earth are too large to work on Mars. Well, no, that's the opposite, right? Because they say later that the Mars blades are longer. So the Earth blades are shorter, right? So they're flipping it here. But yeah, it's not the Earth blades are too large, it's that the Earth blades are too short. So this is the opposite of what they're saying. C, because the gravity of Mars is much weaker than the gravity of Earth. Now that may be true. Do they even talk about gravity here? I don't think so. I don't see the word, right? But this is a classic example of like, don't answer based on your own knowledge. They don't talk about this at all. It might be true. I have no idea. And even if it is true, it's still not the right answer because they don't talk about it. We're always answering based on the passage. So always, go hunting for those ideas if you're unsure. If you don't see the word gravity, that's probably not a good idea. That's not a good sign. D, because helicopters built for Earth are too small to handle the conditions on Mars. Well, this may be kind of true because they do talk about the blades being longer, but they're not really talking about the size of the helicopter. They're talking about the size of the blades. So here, they're basically making a false comparison. And notice, that's kind of what we needed to do anyway, right? We needed the choice to make a comparison between Mars and Earth, but the wrong answers made bad comparisons, whereas the right answer made a very, very weak comparison. It's still a comparison. It just said that there's a difference, but it didn't get into the specifics. And that might turn some people off, but this is just, me telling you the way the SAT works. Weaker choices are usually better. This is weak. This is vague. And so the fact that it didn't say everything that the passage said does not bother me. That's okay. Your answers will almost always be less specific, less detailed than the passage, which is why you don't want to bother trying to memorize all the details in the passage. It's not worth your time. Most of them won't matter. So use the answer choices to understand the passage, not the other way around.